Hertha Berlin are a massive club in Germany, but they last won the top flight of German football in 1931, a DFB Pokal back in the 90s, and have never won a European competition. Now, normally on Football Manager, these are a very annoying club who get very, very rich and buy wonder kids. Well, this year, they're actually in the second tier of Germany and find themselves in quite a dire situation. So today we are rebuilding them, but with a nice little twist. We're only allowed to sign German players, and from day one, you have to clear anyone that isn't German, so it's a German-only Hertha Berlin rebuild. And as you can see, we have simulated to the end of the current season in real life, and Hertha have finished just outside of the promotion places. So it's going to be a task to rebuild this Hertha side from the second tier of Germany, and we're going to give ourselves 5 years to see how far we can get only signing German players. So as we head into our scouting, you can see we have only got a German scouting thing set up. So this is all we can do, is sign anyone that is potentially German. In terms of the squad, there's not many players left here that are German that are going to be in the team. All of these down here are going to have to go, as they're not German. The German ones will stay in the club. But in terms of players that are good enough for the first team, when we check the tactic out I've built, there's not many. 2 centre midfielders, a left winger, 2 centre backs, and a goalkeeper. So we need 2 fullbacks, a halfback, a winger, and a complete forward. Now I'm looking to play quite a nice gegenpressy positional play system as well, so we can have some fun using a different tactic and try and rebuild Hertha. Where do you think we're going to get to in 5 years only signing German players? To give you a bit more context, we are a little bit in debt. In terms of net debt, £61 million. We have negative £2 million in the overall balance as well. They have given us a £5 million transfer budget, but obviously we are restricted in what we can sign. So let's get into season 1 signings. So to start things off with the outgoings, we have raised over £8.5 million. Gustav Christiansen, Martin Dardai, Michael Carbonvik, Wilfred Kanga are the players over £1 million that have left the club. We have had some issues getting rid of some players. We have got everyone that hasn't sold down in the under-19s team, so they shouldn't be getting called up at all. Someone like John Joe Kenny, who is actually a very good right back, we're still trying to get rid of, not quite managed to leave yet. Haris Takmovic, anyone else here that's good enough to potentially play? Parko Dardai, we do have builds on, but not quite gone yet, and Bilal Hussein, but they are not going to be playing a single game. They are on the transfer list, and they are under strict instruction of any offer comes in, they are gone. So we have done a lot of business in terms of transfers. Number 1 is a free signing, a backup right back, Mikel Sponzel. We really much ran out of money, and this guy was on a free, and he's good enough to be an inverted wing back for me. We have signed Florian Dietz. He cost us £250,000, and he's our starting striker for this year. I'm worried too. He is 6'3". He's got decent speed, good determination, finishing, and work rate, which I like because we're playing a sort of gegenpressy system. He's consistent. He likes big matches. But when we look at his goal record throughout his career, he's always done bits in the second team of Cologne, but never in the first team, and scoring goals isn't really what he's known for. But because of the challenge, and because we're in the second tier of Germany, this is the best we could get. We then head to Kaiserslautern and take Tobias Raskel from there. He made 4 appearances last season in the mini season we had, but he's consistent. He likes big matches. Very, very well-rounded in most stats. Most of them in the blue, a few in sort of the lower down whites in heading and in long throws, but I couldn't care less about them. He should be a very good midfielder for us and cost us just £850,000. And then finally, we head to Hanover and we take 2 players from there. Number 1 is Brooklyn Eze. Now this guy I'm a little bit annoyed with because he's changed nationality to Nigerian. If we look at his information, when we signed him, he is based in Germany. He is a German nationality. When I was signing him, he was German. He switched to Nigerian. So I'm going to keep Brooklyn for this season as he was a German signing. And then next season probably look to sell as we try and keep the whole team with just the German nationality as their main. I'm not even doing it as partially German. I'm trying to do it as fully German for the whole thing. So it's quite interesting. We've done this once with England, with Southampton. It went very, very well. I'm intrigued to see how it works in Germany because there's not as much of a, I don't know, like a youth system or as many players coming through that are of the quality as there are in England. So it could be very, very difficult. This guy cost us £900,000, is very quick, can play inverted wing back as well. So excited to see what he can do. And our final signing is a solid central defensive midfielder, also from Hanover, in Fabian Kuhns. This guy's cost us £1.8 million, was by far our most expensive, but he's very aggressive, very brave, very good teamwork and work rate. Natural fitness is also top notch, as well as great determination, incredibly consistent. Likes big matches, 26 years of age, and I think he'll be here for the majority of this rebuild. And with them signings, the team is looking like so. It doesn't look fantastic. I'm not completely filled with confidence, but I think it looks okay. There's a few players in here that are certainly not going to be good enough, but we're going to have to make do with what we've got. So in goal is Tajak Ernst. He is a decent sweeper keeper on defend, decent enough rushing out and jumping reach, but an okay keeper. Sponsel, who I thought was going to be our backup right back, actually comes in to be our starter with Eze as our starting left back, and I'm actually a lot more confident with him regardless of the 2-star ability. His stats are very good. Kempf, not Kempi XI, just Kempf, is here as a centre back with great heading, great determination and work rate, with Leinster next to him, and again great determination, leadership and work rate. A solid centre back partnership. Clemens comes in CDM. This guy looks very good, very well rounded, and it should be okay for us with Benz Dadai in central midfield. He's okay. He's a 2-star current ability. And Suat Sadar in the left centre mid position as Benzala on attack. I think he's going to be really pivotal this season. Risa as the inside forward and support on the left. Again, looks very good. Great long throws, determination, work rate, natural fitness and pace. Decent finishing as well. With Winkler over on the right, he is looking to be our speedy right winger to get him behind the defence as a winger on attack. And finally, Dietz up front, who says only is a 1-star because we're training him to be a complete forward as an advance or something. He is 2.5/3-star. Great determination, work rate and finishing on him. He looks okay, and I think we're going to be okay as well. As we do check out the second tier of Germany, we are predicted to finish in 3rd, and with the tactic we have created, I'm quite confident we can get ourselves into the top 2. Our things actually started very well, with back-to-back games where we scored 3 goals and we beat Darmstadt and VfL Bochum. Sadly, then losing to Paderborn, who were recently relegated 2-0. We beat Elfsborg 2-1, back-to-back draws against Dresden and Hanover before beating Hamburg SV. Right there, 3 massive sides, Dresden, Hanover and Hamburg. Let me know if you want to see a Hamburg rebuild anytime soon, because it looks like a great team to rebuild. We then beat Karlsruhe 3-2, drew 0-0 with First, beat Ulm 2-0, Hansa Rostock 3-1, and then somehow got battered by Regensburg 5-1, and then battering Braunschweig 4-1. Drew 0-0 to Schalke. We have already done a Schalke rebuild before losing to Nürnberg 1-0. We beat Cologne 1-0, and then lost 2-0 to Magdeburg. So the first half of the season was fairly decent, just 4 losses and a majority of wins. But if we were going to get promoted, we had to have a superb second half of the season. So we drew 0-0 with Bochum to kick things off, but ended up winning against Darmstadt and getting battered by Hanover. We then beat Paderborn and lost to Elfsborg. A little bit of up and down form. We beat Dresden and lost to Hanover. It seems like every time now is win-loss, win-loss. Well, that was until a fantastic run-in to the end of the season. We beat Karlsruhe, Fürth, Ulm, Hansa Rostock, Regensburg, Braunschweig, Schalke, Nürnberg, and Cologne, and Magdeburg on the final day of the season. And we had made Hertha champions, not champions, 2nd place in the Bundesliga 2 by just 1 point away from VfL Bochum. And it's quite fun because Hamburg are coming up with us as well. Cologne, Hanover just about missed out, but we certainly had a massive improvement on this season in our points tally. 71 points last season, even with a very good end of the season, was 54, so we've had a massive rise in that one. So I'm very happy to say, obviously this experiment so far is working quite well. We've built a very strong side, and as mentioned, it's quite young. There's quite a few players here that I don't think are good enough. When you stick them in this system and we play our football, things ended up working out. I made 1 tweak to the tactic, making Dietz an advanced forward on attack, and rather than the complete forward, he simply was not scoring goals in that complete forward role. And he ended up scoring a few goals. He scored 11 this season with 3 assists. He doesn't look great, but he was a good enough striker to get us promoted, which is the biggest thing. Fabio Reis, 9 and 9. Suat Sadar, 6 and 4 was brilliant this season. And Tobias Alaskal with 5 and 5. Ben Stardai, who's a 5-star potential wonder kid, 4 goals, 4 assists in 15 starts and 13 of the bench is very impressive. Martin Winkler, 4 and 5. Fabian Kunze, the signing we made, 4 goals and an assist and a 7.02 average rating. Kempf, doing it for the Kempi Army, a 7.14. Brooklyn Eze, a 7 average rating, but sadly is going to have to leave. I believe he's the only player in the team with a non-German nationality. We've had a few players come up for the youth academy that automatically get put there, but they had no chance of playing the games. They were all sort of 1.5 stars. So sadly, Eze is going to have to leave, but we have got 2.5 million we could potentially get for him. In terms of transfer business, the board haven't been very kind in giving us money. We've got nothing. 200k in transfer budget and 15k in wage budget. Now that season was quite difficult to get promoted. And we've now got to go up into the top tier of Germany and play up against the likes of Bayern Munich, Dortmund, and Leverkusen. So this should be very, very fun. We have cleared £10 million of the debt, but I can't imagine it's going to be easy to clear too much more because we really do have to improve this team. So let's get into Season 2. And for our first season in the Bundesliga, we had to sell our best player. Fabian Reis ended up leaving the club and signing for Eintracht Frankfurt. We did manage to raise a grand total of £12 million for him after last season's 7.22 average rating in the second tier. He was snapped up by a very good side, but sadly, that is it for us and Fabian Reis. And in terms of other outgoings, we did have a few more players leave. Palko Dardai, John Joe Kenny, Brooklyn Eze, Karen Bolomo, and Ibrahim Maza have all left the club. We didn't really get too much money out from them, around about £1.5 million. And because of the dire situation in terms of money at the club, we really didn't have a lot to spend, and anything we did sell, we only retained 30% of the transfer revenue. So our big signing this summer to replace the superstar left winger this year is Florian Pick. Now this guy is a bit of a meme in the FC24 community. If you watch Run the Foot Market, you'll know Mr. Pick. We have signed him here at Hertha, and he's going to be our superstar left wing. He's a very good Gegenpressing left winger with decent speed, great work rate, and off the ball work as well. He's consistent. He did cost us £2 million, but he's literally all I could find. He's 29 years of age, and he really is the only player we could get in that left wing position that was good enough for the Bundesliga. Our second signing was Alexander Vogel, and he was coming in to be the backup left winger. He looks completely average, and he cost us £250,000. Oh, this is going to be a rough season. And that's because our next two signings are free agents. Yes, our money is gone already from that £14 million signing because we retained none of the transfer revenue. So Sanusi Bar is our brand new left back. He's a German. He's 21 years of age and was actually ended up being released from Leipzig. He looks very, very good. Very good crossing and dribbling. Again, if we do play that inverted wing-back role, he's great on both feet. Decent enough speed and determination in him as well. So actually a very good free agent signing. And finally is Frederik Jakel, also released from RB Leipzig. Great heading, marking and tackling. Decent determination, great jump reach, and 16 speed on a 6'4" centre-back is incredibly exciting. He has got great consistency, and these guys just clearly aren't making it over at Leipzig. Have been on loan a couple of times in the second tier of Germany, but never really made it. Same for the last guy. I'm just hoping they can make the step up, as they are some of our best players. And because we have made a step up to the top tier of Germany, I have made a few tweaks to the tactic, and I'm no longer going for that inverted wing-back role, as I think we'll get absolutely battered if we try it. So we're going to go with standard wing-backs on right and left with an anchor in front. We're also dropping Sadar from attacking to support to hopefully help out with the defensive side of things. But Ernst in goal. Gaitja, who's a backup right-back last season, comes in as a starter with Clemens and Kempf. Bar, Kunze, Raschkel, Sadar, Winkler, Florian Pick, and Deitz leads the line in the Bundesliga. These stats do not fill me with any confidence whatsoever, but let's see how things get on. In terms of where we are predicted to finish in the Bundesliga, it's 16th at 450 to 1, just behind HSV, but ahead of VfL Bochum. So we're the second best team that have been promoted, which I'll take, that's for sure, given that we are on this only German challenge. Last year in the DFB Pokal, I have to mention as well, we didn't get pretty much anywhere. I can't even see it, to be honest, but I think we got second rounded. If we get any player past sort of the 4th, 5th round, if we get to the quarterfinals, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But let's get into the Bundesliga season. And at this point as well, I just want to say a massive thank you for everyone's support recently, whether it's subscribing on the second channel, Kempi Plays, which just hit 1,000 subscribers, or the legends on screen right now that are supporting over on Patreon. For £5 a month, you literally help make my dreams come true of making content and keep it a realistic thing where potentially one day we could go full-time based on your guys' support and your amazing support on YouTube as well. So if you can and you want to help support the channel anyway, £5 a month, you do get quite a lot for it, whether it's the tactic files of the one season rebuilds or the rebuild files for every single rebuild we do. It is all linked down below for £5 a month. Well, it was a bit of a bite back down to reality with our start in the Bundesliga. We had lost the first 3 games against Freiburg, Augsburg and Borussia Dortmund, drew to Wolfsburg and lost to Stuttgart. So 5 games, 1 point on the board, but back-to-back wins, including a 2-1 victory over Bayern Munich when there was a chance we were going to be safe this season. We then drew to last season's Invincibles by Leverkusen with a 0-0 draw. We lost 3-2 to HSV, but battered Bochum, who we come up with 4-0, drew to Union Berlin and beat Borussia Mönchengladbach. We did finish the first half of the season with 3 losses in a row, but all 1-0s against Werder, Hoffenheim and Leipzig. Overall, quite happy with how the first half of that season went. And the second half started just as well. We beat Mainz and Augsburg in back-to-back games before losing to Freiburg, drawing to Dortmund away from home, which is a fantastic result, drawing to Wolfsburg, losing to Stuttgart, and then we beat Heidenheim 3-1. And then obviously because we beat Bayern Munich earlier on in the season, it took them back to the Allianz Arena and they beat us 9-1. I don't think there's ever been as big of a gap in games between 8-1 and 9-1 in the history of football. But here we are on YouTube. 1-1 against Eintracht Frankfurt, 1-0 loss against Leverkusen. We drew to HSV and Bochum. We then went on another nice little unbeaten run, beating Berlin, drawing to Mönchengladbach, and beat Werder Bremen before losing to Hoffenheim and Leipzig and drawing to Mainz to finish up this season. And we actually also ended up getting all the way to the quarterfinals of the Pokal, where we did lose 1-0, disappointingly, to Kiel. That's a team I certainly think we could have beat. They got to the semi-finals and lost 1-0 to Wolfsburg. Again, I thought we could have potentially got to them and then probably lost 9-1 again against Bayern Munich in the final. But quarterfinals of the Pokal, I'm quite impressed with. And I mean, I'm also quite impressed with a mid-table finish. 18 teams, we have finished in 9th. A -3 goal difference, which, to be fair, isn't fantastic. We are 2 points away from finishing down in 12th, but we haven't. We've finished 9th. We are a whole way off European football, but 40 points, a -3 goal difference, 10 wins, 10 draws, and 14 losses. Given the challenge we have put ourselves under, signing just German players, selling our best player, Fabian Rees, as we come up into this division, and still getting mid-table, I think is incredibly impressive. And a lot goes to the tactic we used as well. As mentioned, we sort of went a bit more clever. We decided to go a bit more defensive, and it definitely worked for us. These wing-backs were much better than the inverted wing-backs. The team actually overall is ticking. There's, I mean, orange lines everywhere, which I believe means them like learning everything. They've got a fairly decent partnership. The jaggedy lines is what you don't want to see. If they're orange, they've got potential to get even better. And as a team, we really are progressing very well indeed. And someone that massively surprised me this season was Florian Dietz. Last season, he got 12 goals in the second tier. This season, 12 goals in the top tier. Florian Pick as well. A great season, 6 and 7. Suazadar, 5 and 3. Bent Stardai, 4 and 2. Now a 3.5-star player with 5-star potential. Really is progressing into being one of our best players. Only started 13, but 20 off the bench this season. Next season, I am sure he will be a starter. Friedrich Jekyll, the free agent signing from Leipzig, played 20 games with a 6.87, which is great. Winkler, 3 and 4. 2 and 1 from our backup striker, Sharan. So overall, we are progressing quite well and we're doing a good job of rebuilding this side. In terms of the debts and loans, we've managed to clear it all in just one season in the Bundesliga, which is massive, and we've got £35 million in overall balance. I will mention we are still only keeping 20% of transfer revenue, which we are looking to increase hopefully very soon via the board, but we have got £12 million to spend and around 100 grand in wage budget as well, so maybe now we can start bringing in some of these German wonder kids. Well, lucky enough this season there was pretty much no outgoing, so we could purely concentrate on making this squad better. And we started that with a £4.5 million signing of a brand new superstar left back in Aaron Zenter. This guy has been at Paderborn and has sort of followed us up from the Bundesliga, now coming into the Bundesliga with us. £4.4 million is expensive, but a 21-year-old left back with 16 crossing, great physical stats, and consistent is a very good signing. As is Nelson Viper. I think we have finally found our striker, and he cost us £4 million. Now, this guy I was angling to get in. As soon as I knew I was going to do the German-only challenge with Hertha, I knew within a couple of seasons we had to get Nelson Viper as early as possible because he normally turns in to an absolute bagsman. He's incredibly consistent, 15 finishing, 13 composure, and 17 determination, 6'4", and overall is an absolute weapon on the front line. We then signed our brand new right winger in Jan Thielemann. He has played 113 games over at 1FC Köln at just 24 years of age, so he's got some great games behind him. Very consistent, loves big matches, incredible in terms of determination, work rate, and teamwork. So again, for that gegenpress system, Jan is going to be pivotal. We signed the brand new wonder kid at Bayern Munich, Alexander Pavlovic. He cost us just £825,000. It seems like on FM they don't really rate him, unlike in real life. This guy is incredibly consistent, loves big matches, and has apparently been called up to the German team for the Euros as well. So showing some real signs of progression, and I'm excited to get him here at Hertha to be our starting DM. We signed another brand new backup right back in Felix Hagemann. This guy cost us £800,000 and is just fairly decent. And finally, another free agent signing, a 31-year-old, but someone with supreme quality. We've signed him from HSV. It's Jonas Meffert. Great positioning and teamwork. Great stamina and balance on him as well. And a very good ball-playing midfielder. Incredibly consistent. Loves big matches. You know, guys, I absolutely love it when someone says that. In terms of the team, Ernst, Geiker, Clemens, Kepf, Zeitner, Kunz, Raschel, Sadar, Tielemans, Charant, and Nelson Viper up front. We are looking like a bit more of a youthful team now as well, which I'm very, very happy with. I mean, in terms of ages, 23, 22, 21, 31, which you got to have some experience, 21, 28, 26, 29, 24, 23, and 21. So only one player above 30. We are getting some decent wonder kids come through. Ian Fowler is a 2-star centre-back with 5-star potential, who does look like he could progress potentially, so he's going to be here as a backup centre-back for us. Daniel Hofstad, again, as a goalkeeper, looks decent, 5-star potential. You never know what we could get out of him. Elias Stranya's here, Eyur Greba's here. Some great potential littered in and around. Enrico Apsch is a very good forward. He has got great finishing at 11, great first touch, great teamwork at just 17 years of age. He could turn into a very good player as well. But overall, we're progressing very, very nicely. This season, I'd like to try and see if we can make it and try and break into that sort of top 8 and get Europa Conference League. It's normally around 7-4-8, which does get it. And again, another good showing in the Pokal would be great. We are predicted to finish in 13th, so definitely some improvements on last season and some youth as well. Well, to be honest, this season it was a little bit disappointing, so I'm not going to waste your time going through the whole schedule. The Pokal, we got first rounded by Karlsruhe SC, which is disappointing. And in the league, 42 points, so 2 points better off than last season. Still a negative goal difference, but in 10th place and still quite some way off getting into Europe. So I don't want to waste too much time on this season. It's season 3. It's the middle of where we are in terms of our rebuild. The main thing that happened in this season is that our star goalkeeper, Tarek Ernst, ended up leaving to Al Riyadh in January due to a release clause for £9 million. So he got a little bit shafted. And in terms of the goalkeeper that played this season, it was the legend of Robert Krasnugak. This guy is decent. He's 22. He's through the Hertha Academy. He's definitely not good enough to be a Bundesliga goalkeeper, so we got a little bit stung by him leaving in January. But we move on. It's not the worst season in the world. We are still in the Bundesliga, of course. And of course, our young players have progressed. Nelson Viper, 12 goals, is our top goal scorer. In terms of our best players, we are looking at Ben Stardai, who is 21. Alexander Pavlovic, a great season, is 23 years of age. Jan Tillman at 25. Clemens at 22. Zeitner at 22. Viper at 22. So a very good young core here at the squad, making up the best players in our team. So we are certainly looking good for the future. Just season 3 was a bit of a write-off. In terms of outgoings, again for this season, not too many players handed up leave. Freddy Jakel for 850, Ecksteiber for 300, Ergol Greber for 140, and Luis Truss for 51k, raising just £1.3 million. The board did give us 12.5 million, so we made just 2 signings. Number 1 being another very good midfielder in Dennis Geiger. He cost us £8 million, but I'm really trying to build that core of the team to be as strong as possible. I think that's the best way we get to being something winning at the end of this 5 years. So Dennis Geiger is here. Very consistent, loves big matches, a good Bundesliga player already, has played a whole host of games for Hoffenheim and for, well, last season a few over at Augsburg. We spent £8 million, but I'm happy to get Geiger in. And finally is our new starting goalkeeper, Max Weiss. Now, a goalkeeper is very difficult to come by. Well, we haven't got a lot of money. We had £4 million to spend on this position, and this guy really is the best we could bring in. He's okay. He's 23 years of age. He's consistent. He doesn't like big matches. I can't say too much about him, but that's the challenge we've got. Just signing German players just gets a lot more difficult as you go on, because they're all actually quite expensive, the Wonder Kids. And we don't have a lot of money here at Hertha, which is very different to other times with Hertha Berlin. Last season on FM23, these are one of the German powerhouses. This year, a much more difficult challenge. We have gone into a 4-2-3-1 system with Weiss in goal, Giekter, Clemens, Kempf and Zeitner, Geiger and Pavlovic in DM, Tielemans and Winkler as our 2 wingers, with Dardai and Viper leading the line. I'm very, very happy with this team. I really do think, though, this season we can probably try and win the Pokal and definitely try and get into that top 8 and get some European football for the final season 5. Yeah, but we certainly ain't going to win the Pokal. We lost 2-1 in the second round. And with the start of the season coming against Bayern Munich and a 5-1 loss, things were not looking too good. We drew to Cologne and then lost to Dortmund, but luckily that was 3 fairly difficult games. We then faced up against St. Pauli, beat them 2-0, beat Stuttgart 3-2 and Heidenheim 2-1, before not going a game with winning in 4. Gladbach, Frankfurt, Leverkusen and Schalke, 3 losses and just the 1 draw, and then went on quite a nice little unbeaten run. We beat HSV, drew to Dusseldorf, beat Hoffenheim, beat Wolfsburg, beat Mainz, drew to Freiburg and drew to Leipzig. We then lost to Cologne, but beat Bayern Munich yet again 1-0, and even more impressive, we beat Dortmund 2-0. So the first half of the season certainly showing quite a lot of improvement for this Hertha side. I was thinking we could be on a bit of a roll. So we drew to St. Pauli 1-0, beat Stuttgart 2-0, and then did win a game in 3, drawing to Heidenheim, losing to Gladbach and losing to Leverkusen. We then beat Schalke 4-1, drew to HSV, beat Dusseldorf, lost to Hoffenheim, beat Wolfsburg, beat Mainz, drew to Freiburg, beat Frankfurt, and on the final day of the season, lost to Leipzig. But was it enough to get us into Europe for the final season in this rebuild? Yes, it was. We snuck into 7th place, and I say snuck because it was just 2 points, but our goal difference of positive 14 shows we made a massive step up in this season. Nelson Viper was the top goal scorer in the whole Bundesliga. Ben Stardai finished down in 4th on 15, so having someone through the academy being a Bundesliga, you know, absolute powerhouse is fantastic to see, and I'm very excited that Benz has become brilliant. Nelson Viper as well, 18 goals in the league, 4 assists as well. Always becomes one of these strikers which just love scoring goals. So very happy to have them two here at the side. In terms of yellow cards, again, I like that as well. Mark-Oliver Kemp and Dennis Geiger both on the yellow cards list. In terms of the squad and the rest of the goals, obviously 18 for Viper, 15 for Dardai, 8 and 6 for Derry Chalant, Thielmann with 5 and 6, and then the goals just fall off an absolute cliff. This sort of new 4-2-3-1, the front 4 are getting all the goals, the rest aren't really contributing. They're concentrating on defending, and that is exactly what they should be doing. So I'm very excited to say that for the final season in this rebuild, there is a chance we make Hertha European champions, signing only German players throughout the whole rebuild. We've got £15 million to spend and 35k in wage budget, so let's get into Season 5. And on first of all, you might have seen in the end of that last season that Alexander Pavlovic was no longer in the side. Well, he was poached for his release clause to buy Leverkusen. It was only £6.5 million, but that's what we had to put in to his contract to get him into the club. So we had over £20 million to spend, and we spent it all as it was the last season of the rebuild. So our first season is a new backup striker in Kiki Top, signed from Schalke. He is a decent striker, very similar to Nelson Viper, 6'4", quick, good finishing and good composure, consistent, likes big matches, and cost us 4.6 million. Jamil Siebert is our next signing, a 26-year-old centre-back signed from Dusseldorf. He has great bravery, aggression, 18 jumper reach, 16 strength, and 6'4", extremely consistent, and he loves big matches. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of German players with both of them traits. Next up is one of the best wonder kids on the game in Ladin Ulrich. This guy's got great flair and agility, and is a very tricky little central attack midfielder slash winger. Consistent and likes big matches, and was signed at the end from Hoffenheim. Yannick Kittel comes in as a new backup central defensive midfielder, £1.5 million signed from Freiburg, and again, very consistent, very well-rounded, another very good option in midfield. And our final signing for some actual money is Moritz Jens. This guy is a 29-year-old centre-back, again, consistent, likes big matches, very strong, great determination, bravery and aggression, and the holy trinity of defense, 14 heading, 14 marking and 13 tackling, all at a very good standard for the Bundesliga. And finally, 2 free agent signings, number 1 being Finn Becker, signed from HSV, and number 2 in Achim Keister, coming in to be a backup right back. He's incredibly consistent and very, very average. He come through the Leverkusen Academy and is here at Hertha to be our backup right back. And overall, the team I am quite happy we have built. Given we've had 5 seasons to completely clear house, build a German-only side, I think we've done a very good job. Max Weiss in goal, Hagman, Clemens, Siebert and Zeitner as the back 4, with Kittel and Geiger in DM, Thielmann, Benstardai, Lodin Orich and Viper up front. I thought we have a very young, progressive German side, and I think it's time to lift a European trophy. Well, I can confirm the DFB Pokal is not coming back to Hertha. Obviously, they last won it in the 90s, and it's not going to come to them today, as we knocked out in the 3rd round of the Pokal against Elversberg. And I tell you what though, in in terms of our league performance, we started brilliantly. We beat Dortmund 2-1, lost to Stuttgart 1-0, but then beat Frankfurt 3-0, lost to Leipzig 4-1, but beat Hoffenheim 3-0, Augsburg 3-1, Werder 3-1, and Freiburg 1-0. And then just went on an absolutely horrible run of form. Drawing to HSV, losing to Bayern, drawing to Heidenheim, losing to Schalke, losing to Bayer Leverkusen, drawing to Mainz, drawing to Wolfsburg, losing to Gladbach. 2.5 months of absolute nothingness. And while January did start fantastic with victories over Cologne, Stuttgart, and doing the double over Dortmund, the rest of the season was also a write-off. We lost to Frankfurt, lost to Leipzig, lost to Hoffenheim, beat Augsburg, lost to Freiburg, Bayern, drew to HSV and Heidenheim, lost to Bayer Leverkusen. We beat Schalke, and then the final 5 games of the season, 1 draw and 4 losses. It really wasn't a very good season in the Bundesliga at all, but is that because we were distracted by a European competition? Within the league phase, we were absolutely fantastic, and I'm not really surprised. 6 games, 5 wins against Maccabi Tel Aviv, PAOK, Brann, Apoel, and Austria Vienna, and just 1 draw against Djurgårdens in a 0-0. We went straight through to the round of 16, where we actually faced up a very strong PAOK side, but we beat them 5-3 on aggregate. And where we were blessed in the quarterfinals as well, as we got drawn up against Hapoel Ben Sherva, and we beat them 4-1 on aggregate, meaning quite an easy run to the semis. And this is how we faced up against Zurich, and we showed our real quality in this one. Ulrich making it 1-0 and then firing a ball into Nelson Viper. He gives the defender the old flip-flap, and he makes it 2-0 in just 17 minutes. And a third is going to come nice and quick as well, with Ulrich on the ball, finding Schrantz on the left-hand side, cutting in, and Nelson Viper is there for 3-0. It all got a lot easier as well because Zurich then got a red card. So we are going to grab a 4th before half-time, where Jan Thielmann put it past the goalkeeper. And I mean, the tie was all wrapped up. This is at home. We are 4-0 up, and maybe the easiest semi-final anyone has ever had. Bar whips it in. It doesn't quite make it there, but after a header from Thielmann, it finds Nelson Viper to make it 5-0. And we are going to grab a 6th as well. Thielmann found Bar to find Geiger, to find Kittel, a 6-0 victory. And the second leg was a 1-1 draw. We played a full rotation side. We ended up scoring with Ulrich, and we still would nearly won. A 1-0 draw, a top performance, and we're into a Conference League final. And this was up against Baník Ostrava, and I have to say, I didn't realise the Conference League was quite this poor. West Ham fans go absolutely mental about winning a European trophy, and as you look for the teams we have played against, it was quite easy. We score a 2nd in 11 minutes, and we are going to go and grab a 3rd in the first half as well. A backstick header from Jens, and from there it was feet up and a 3-0 victory. 80% possession in a final isn't fair. We absolutely dominated. We absolutely smashed through one of the weaker teams here in the Conference League in Baník Ostrava, who made it all the way to the final. And when I sort of look for the teams we played, there's no one really in that schedule that scares me at all. In terms of the rest of the league phase, Rennes and Nordisland would have been quite difficult games. Brighton would have been a difficult game. We just dodged any game that could have been potentially difficult. Got all the way to the final. And if you're a West Ham fan, we're champions of Europe, so we'll certainly take it. What we won't take is the abysmal performance in the Bundesliga. Obviously, with a lot more games, it was a bit more tough on the players. We finished out in 13th, but we do end the rebuild of the Europa League for anyone that does pick it over on Patreon, so which is quite exciting. Nelson Viper doing bits. Bent Dardai is a fantastic player. I do think we've had quite a cool little rebuild here. They're very different to anything we do here on the channel. They're literally just signing 1 National League players only. Let me know if you do enjoy them. I'm looking to make different fun challenges throughout the summer on FM, so let me know if you've got any challenges for me down in the description below. Thank you for watching as always. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time.